Hello there, everybody. My name is Cervantes-Garibay, and this summer I spent my time in Southern California at the California Polytechnic University in Pomona as an Akuhuai intern, working under the University Housing Service Office with the Welcome Week student organization. As I stated before, I was the Welcome Week intern, working under Katie Ewing, who was the advisor of the Welcome Week leadership team. The leadership team consisted of 7 students. So first off, what is Welcome Week? As you can see, this is actually one of our promotional flyers that we created just a few weeks ago. Our theme this year is in the waves of change, we find our direction. Now, what is Welcome Week? Welcome Week is a 3-day residential welcome program for first-time freshmen and transfer students who are living in the residential halls. This event allows students to move in early, be part of social events and gatherings, and also gain kind of an educational overview of what Cal Poly is about, and it really allows them to gain their bearings. So many institutions have some type of Welcome Week. Unfortunately for the students here at Cal Poly, it does not come in tuition, and there is a cap. There's about 2,400 students and only about 1,200 get to attend. It is $110 out of pocket, and the price does raise as time goes on. So some of my duties as a Welcome Week intern, including working with a Welcome Week team and assisting in the planning of all Welcome Week events, advising and supervising leadership team, planning and implementing the team retreat, communicating with vendors and campus partners, and processing various forms related to purchasing and large-scale events. I'm very glad I got to work as a Welcome Week intern. There was 3 positions at Cal Poly Pomona. One was Welcome Week, one was summer housing, and the other one was Poly Nights, which is kind of an orientation overnight stay for students. I've had more experience working in the halls, so I wanted something different. Welcome Week is under University Housing Services, but it is a little bit separate, where it's kind of a larger scale event for the residential students. Sometimes in other universities, the Welcome Week committee or team may be separate completely. So this is a great experience for me to learn something new and challenge myself. So I learned a lot about myself as a supervisee, but as my supervisor in this internship said, I have a clear idea of what my supervision style is, and something that I need to develop is my advisory style. This role had a heavy emphasis on advising as opposed to supervision, as the program advisor did more of the supervision, and I had to take on the role as an advisor. So as a supervisee, I help the students kind of see the bigger picture. A lot of times these students who are great students were working on events and focusing maybe on the little things like getting glow sticks or making it fun, but I had to constantly remind them that as much as they like these events for themselves, they need to make sure they're focused on the students. I also had to help when students were creating, for example, the catering event. It's important for them to know that, or to be aware of pricing, quantity, tabling, all those the people they need to contact. So I was constantly helping them kind of figure that out, or kind of pushing them into answering those questions. Along with the bigger picture, I was very supportive. There's a lot of times where they were struggling with answering certain questions, or wondering what they really wanted out of the event. So I was there to kind of, again, push them into answering those questions themselves and kind of really figuring out what they wanted to do for Welcome Week. Along with answering questions, sometimes I didn't know the answer or they needed more information. So I would make sure that I would get that information for them and follow up to ensure that they're still on task or still on time, depending on what they needed from other people or the events that we needed to start creating or were in the process of creating. Though I had some of the skills down, because I know I'm not like the worst advisor in the world, I know I still need work. Sometimes I struggled of like when to intervene, when not to intervene, kind of making the decision in order to help the student was kind of tough for me. So I know after this internship, that's something that I really need to focus on, especially for my RAs next year. So what I contributed to the department's mission. So the mission statement: we work cooperatively with our residents in a learning center environment to foster a safe and welcoming environment, opportunities for growth, leadership, and academic achievement, respect and value of all lifestyles and cultures. So with that, I think as an intern, kind of just with the students that I work with, creating a safe and welcoming environment, just trying to create rapport with them, getting to know them, letting them know that I'm here to help them was great, but also helping those students kind of learn that they need to create kind of a welcome environment for the students that are coming to the event that they're creating. With that, as an intern, I was helping create like the retreat, the events we were doing for that. So allowing opportunities for growth, leadership, some things I did with some of the training or team building that I can talk about later. I think as an intern for respect and value of all lifestyles and cultures, I was helping the students kind of become more aware of the kind of welcoming environment they wanted to create and the kind of students that they might come in. That might come into the event itself. It's not just one type of student. It's going to be many types of students from many different backgrounds, and they need to make sure that they're creating events that welcome these. So I made a few learning objectives, but I'm only going to hit on the 3 I felt I did some more growth in or felt that I actually hit, because as many of you probably didn't hit all of them or hit some or hit most or whatnot. So the ability to coach group decision making, goal setting, and processing. I think as an intern, I helped with group decisions a lot because with the amount of students we had, there's many ideas of what those students want Welcome Week to look like. So with timelines coming up or time constraints, I wanted to make sure that, I'm pushing up a decision or we're finding ways to make a clear consensus of what we want for an event. We also created a goal setting session at the retreat that we went out to. So allowing them to kind of set their own goals personally for the group and even the Welcome Week program itself. For the ability to create an environment that promotes meaningful conversation and recognition of multiple identities within a group. Some of the things I did was create kind of conflict scenarios where they would talk and have like tough conversations or kind of act it out, and then we would just like walk through them and see what ideas everybody had or what ways they would want to be approached. We also allowed them to kind of talk about what ways they like to be talked to, communicated to kind of gain each other's perspectives and make sure nobody is doing something that another person may not like, or not unknowingly, of course. The ability to understand and teach others how to be good stewards of the campus resource. At first I didn't really think I hit this, but after talking with my supervisor, I found that I was hitting this learning objective by making students aware of what is possible. By that, I mean, when creating an event, you got to be aware of the budget, what is allowed by the university. One of the students really was adamant about trying to get one of those bull riding machines, and obviously that is not what the university wants because the student can easily be hurt. So kind of making them aware of that kind of gets the process going, or at least moving forward. So I did a lot of that for the students. Obviously, I'm not the type of person that wants to shut down their ideas or dreams for the event, but you do got to kind of make them aware of what is possible or what's the realm of reality, and go from there. So for the first competency that I felt I hit this summer is social justice and inclusion. I had a lot of opportunity to kind of create moments for the Welcome Week leadership team this summer to develop their own skills in inclusion and being aware of social justice and what that really is. With that, I made sure I got in contact with the social justice and inclusion team on campus and allowed them to do a workshop on social justice and inclusion itself, and kind of teaching them or helping the students be aware of those types of things. Also with that, like I said, I help with creating kind of conflict scenarios and tough kind of conversations with either within the team or with Welcome Week students. So kind of allowing them to act them out, debriefing them, asking questions of how they would like to be talked to or how they would approach the situation, what to do if in case a certain thing happens or there's a pushback of some sort. I also felt I hit the competency of leadership a lot. For one, I need to understand campus culture. So with moving to a university, you really need to get to learn the new hierarchy, how everything works, to kind of see the dynamics of how students work, how the professionals work, other campus partners. So I think I did a good job on being aware of that and kind of developing my own knowledge of it, or I would say like the knowledge of this specific campus. Also encouraging students to engage in team and community building activities. I helped create a lot of the team building activities, but also allowed the co-chairs, who were the two leaders of the Welcome Week team, to create team building events or team building opportunities for them to kind of connect and, become a more cohesive team. So also serving as a mentor and role model for the students. As a professional, you want to make sure that you're acting appropriately when you're around students, making sure you're doing the right thing, and making sure that you're also teaching them how to be good role models. And for example, I was doing a tabling during orientation, and we had a student walked by, and we asked them like, "Hey, are you living on campus?" Because the students that live on campus will be part of Welcome Week. And she said, "No way, because there's cockroaches. The buildings are older and there is a chance for bugs." But one of the Welcome Week team members that was with me did say, "Oh yeah, that is true. I wouldn't like to live there either." Obviously, we're not trying to hide the fact that there is bugs, but for me, that was like a teachable moment. For her, is that maybe you should say it a certain way, or kind of twist it around and be like, there might be cockroaches, but it's still a great place to live. I really like it here. Just making sure the students were aware that they're always being watched, they're always being heard. So it really affects a student when you say certain things. And again, like I said before, and I talked about advising and supporting, help facilitate goal setting. We during the retreat, making those opportunities for the students to set their own goals, the group goals, and the Welcome Week program goals. Also helping with decision making. A lot of times students have tough time, especially in a group setting. So kind of just pushing them into making a decision or finding ways for them to be okay with a certain idea or certain kind of way we're going to go about a certain event or design. I know we were struggling a lot with the actual logo. So after kind of learning or seeing that there's a little bit of conflict throughout certain members, kind of just taking upon myself to kind of like, hey, so we're gonna narrow this down little by little. We're gonna make votes. There's gonna be stages, just to get this done. And at the end of the day, we found an actual consensus, and we're going with the logo that we chose. And also kind of and like with that, kind of managing the interpersonal conflict, kind of just like noticing those types of things. I found that I am very aware of body language and kind of tone, so it really kind of helped me develop in that advising and supporting aspect. And then also kind of helped with creating like the honey do and don't checklist, so that was just kind of like what to do if conflict arises, what to do before a conflict, during a conflict, and after a conflict. So with that was some of my time here at Cal Poly Pomona. I think it's very little for what actually happened. 2 months though is very short, so I am thankful for the opportunity, all the people that I got to meet and learn from. I'm going to use a lot of what I learned for my future endeavors, including this Sunday when I head back to Eau Claire. And Cal Poly is a great university, so if you're ever searching for a job and Cal Poly opens up, it has my stamp of approval, if that means anything to you or not. But yeah, have a great day.